Hello, my name is Madison Powell, and I am a first-year medical sciences major at the University of Cincinnati. I come from a relatively small town, Franklin, Ohio, where my family has lived for many generations. A town so small, in fact, that my immediate family, my dad's parents, and my mom's grandparents all live on the same road. And on that very same road is the school I went to, my parents went to, my grandparents went to, and the school my mom currently works at. Here in Franklin, I live with my parents, my two younger brothers, Caleb, who is 15, and Levi, who is 9, and my dog, Duke. In high school, I was very involved with drama club, French club, and National Honor Society. I also participated in an organization similar to Ambassadors called Link Crew. As a Link Crew leader, we held multiple Q&As for 8th graders to ask about high school, offered personal group discussions, and led tours around the high school. Outside of school, I enjoy spending time with friends and family, listening to music, and going to concerts as much as possible, which has been hard these last couple months. I want to travel and see so much after being stuck in a small town for so long, so I like to plan many road trips with friends to see cool restaurants or sites that are nearby. So far this semester, I have been able to get involved with Camp Kesem, which is an annual summer camp that is put on for free for children who currently have had, or have lost a parent with cancer. I have been completing my classes from home and making the drive to campus for my labs, which has been slightly difficult considering my car is older than I am. I have talked about wanting to be a doctor for as long as I can remember. For Christmas one year, when I was maybe 4 or 5, I received a doctor kit and costume and refused to take it off, unless my mom made me, of course. I would run around putting band-aids on anything because I wanted to make it feel better. This desire to help people in any way I can has only increased with age and with education. I'm hoping to become a medical sciences ambassador because I really enjoy the program and I'm looking to become more involved on campus. I'm also inspired to join because of the positive experience I had with the ambassadors on my visit to the University of Cincinnati. Coming into my visit, I was pretty sure that UC wasn't going to be the school for me, mainly because of the city atmosphere that I was definitely not accustomed to. But within a few hours, my mind had been changed, and it quickly became my top choice, and I slowly fell in love with the city of Cincinnati. I would love to be a part of that process for incoming students and show them what exactly makes the University of Cincinnati and the Medical Sciences program so incredible. Question 2. What is one thing that I like and one thing I do not like about medical sciences? One thing I really like about the Medical Sciences program is the connection and community created among both fellow students and faculty members. At a time like the one we are currently facing, in which it is easier than ever to feel disconnected, I think it is a true testament to how great the Medical Sciences program is that this is the first thing I thought of when asked this question. They have clearly recognized the struggles we would feel coming into this semester and have come up with innovative solutions. I know that if this is the level of connection I am experiencing when we can't meet face to face, that this community must be even more connected under a traditional year. As freshmen, students are placed into a learning community, which is a group of 20 students that you have all of your classes with. At our weekly learning community meetings, we talk about how we are doing and tackle large subjects like mental health and what we can do to best feel prepared for medical school. Being able to make these connections with students in the program that are also in your classes is such a valuable experience, especially while the majority of us are at home and unable to meet classmates in the traditional manner. Without having my learning community, I'm honestly unsure how I would have begun to know the people in my classes. These are the peers I go to if I have a question on class material or even just in general, and we have all become pretty close over the semester. We also have a weekly medical sciences seminar in which we are able to build this community as well. This has been the only opportunity for me to really hear from classmates that aren't in my learning community, and it has been a really nice addition to have this semester. I also enjoy that we talk about things outside of medicine, such as equity and inclusion. This shows that the Medical Sciences program is well aware that it takes more than just academic knowledge to become a great physician. The program also pairs students with an upperclassman peer mentor and a medical school mentor. Having these people to talk to who have been where you are and understand your struggles is incredible. I love my mentors and feel comfortable reaching out to them with questions I have. Having these resources and the ability to meet and get connected with peers has eased the transition to college immensely. So far, I have had an incredibly positive college experience, and I'm so happy with my decision to be a medical sciences major at the University of Cincinnati. I've given a lot of thought to the question of what about the program I dislike and have genuinely been at a loss, which I think in itself says a lot about the program. I'm only a couple months in, so maybe I just don't have the experience needed to look back and really reflect on what I had disliked about my time here. But so far, the only negative things I've had to face are related to COVID and having virtual classes. I know that this is not the fault of the medical sciences program, but it has certainly made the semester and my transition to college more difficult. I do believe I have still received a high-quality education, of course, but the learning experience from a mostly virtual lab is guaranteed to be vastly different to the learning experience gained from being able to physically go into the lab and learn the equipment ourselves. For example, for my biology lab this semester, I was only in person once, which is drastically different to the weekly labs I would have under a traditional year. While still participating from home, it is definitely a lot different. At times, I am worried that this lack of experience will put me behind, but I have realized that all of my classmates are in the same situation I am. It has also been difficult to meet peers outside of my learning community, as in most classes, we are expected to have our videos off and our mics muted to prevent the possibility of facing technology issues. I would love to have an opportunity to have small, meaningful conversations with the peers outside of my learning community, and I believe that breakout rooms would be a nice addition to our weekly medical sciences seminars. I understand that the vast majority of these problems are simply a result of the current climate, and I am thankful that the University of Cincinnati is doing what they can to keep us safe and healthy so we can hopefully return to in-person classes as soon as possible. Question 3. What makes me stand out from other ambassador applicants? I always knew that I wanted to go to college, and I always knew that I would be the first person in my family to do so. However, I had no idea the struggles of being a first-generation student until much later. Things such as applying to college, figuring out FAFSA, and exploring colleges are difficult for everyone, but they become exponentially harder when you have no one to look to for guidance. Things some students may take for granted, even as simple as your parents having a basic understanding of how the college application process works, is not something I had. As a first-generation student, I have a unique lens and would be able to offer other future first-generation students individualized advice and support. As I went on college visits, it became so clear to me that most of the other students going into medicine had parents and even grandparents who went to college, and a large number of them even had parents in the medical field that were able to give them access to shadowing and specific advice throughout high school. This began to become very daunting for me, and I started to feel behind before I had even made it to college. I was not able to get shadowing hours as I did not know anyone in the medical field, and the physicians I reached out to already had people they knew shadowing them. In general, I think being a first-generation college student from a lower middle-class rural town makes me stand out and gives me a perspective that would be beneficial for incoming students to hear. I would have loved to have been able to talk to someone one-on-one that I could relate to in order to get some assurance that it was going to be possible. I am also a student in the honors program. After taking the Gateway to University Honors course this semester, I have learned a lot about the honors program and would be happy to discuss this with students and their families that may have questions or just want to know more about the program. The program pushes students to be global citizen scholars and expand on their education past academics, and I believe that in itself offers a unique lens. In addition to being in the honors program, I am also a Connections student. I think it is so important that incoming students are aware of Connections and how incredible of an opportunity it is. I know that some of my peers in MedSci had not heard about it while they were applying, and I definitely want to make sure incoming students know it is an option they should look into if they are interested. The Connections program has offered me a unique perspective so far this semester on approaching medicine as a good human first and a good doctor second. I would be happy to talk about the Connections program with students and their families. Also, as I discussed earlier, I have been in a program similar before. I really enjoyed my time as a Link Crew leader, and I believe I learned a lot from these experiences that would aid me in being a good medical sciences ambassador. I know what it is like to be asked sometimes strange questions from students, and more often than not, their parents as well. I love seeing the students that I was able to talk to as 8th graders come into the high school and recognize me as a familiar face in the halls on the first day of school. For the first couple of days every school year, I found that those students felt comfortable enough to come up and ask me questions, or even just to tell me that they were worried for nothing and had been enjoying high school. I know that I struggled with the transition to high school, so I did what I could to answer any questions and make it as smooth as possible of a transition for them. In general, I have a passion for helping others that is pushing me to want to become a medical sciences ambassador. I believe I have several unique lenses that I could share with students and their families that would be beneficial. Question 4. If a prospective family asked me what made me choose MedSci over other programs, what would be my response? As I began my college search my junior year of high school, I was certain that I wanted to attend medical school after finishing my undergraduate education to become a physician. However, at all of the schools I was looking at, they suggested I major in chemistry or biology, and neither really felt right to me. Though I did enjoy science, I didn't want to major in something that didn't directly relate to the career path I was planning on heading down. After attending a visit at the University of Cincinnati and hearing about the medical sciences major from faculty and students, I instantly knew that the program was something I needed to be a part of. I really liked that the major was specifically designed to support my goals of being a physician and was not just a general science subject. The opportunities present within this program are unparalleled to any I saw on any of my other college visits. Even as a freshman, it has been evident that there are a multitude of opportunities in research, shadowing, volunteering, and even in the organizations to get involved with. I am constantly getting emails about different opportunities from my medical sciences advisors, and I know that as I progress in the program, I will grow in the connections I make with professors. The ability to learn directly from medical school professors at the College of Medicine as an undergraduate student is such a unique experience, and I am looking forward to being able to do this in my following years. Also, the classes available as Meds electives cover intriguing subjects that are related to things that we will need to know as medical students and physicians. I like that the classes are focused on things that specifically relate to medicine. I also enjoy that the University of Cincinnati has less of a focus on research and more of a focus on the humanity and service side of medicine than some of the other schools I looked at during my college search. Having the opportunity for these experiences will better prepare me for medical school, and I think it'll make that transition from being an undergraduate student to a medical student so much more manageable and less daunting. Despite the clear myriad of incredible opportunities the medical sciences program presents to its students, the thing that stood out to me most on my visit was the camaraderie between the students on the panel. They all seemed like they were genuinely friends, as they made comments to one another about fellow students and professors they both knew. It reassured me that the program was not big enough to be lost in, and that most of the people in the program knew each other, and many of them were even good friends. After hearing for so long about the competition I would face from my peers as a pre-medical student, it was incredibly refreshing to see the exact opposite at the University of Cincinnati. As a current student, I have only continued to see this, both from peers in my class and from upperclassmen students as well. There really is a sense of teamwork, and I believe that everyone genuinely wants to see their peers do well and succeed. I have often reached out to fellow students in my year as well as upperclassmen with questions, and I have never been met with someone that was unwilling to answer them. Everyone has been more than helpful and is quick to offer advice that they learned when they were in my shoes. Another thing I would mention to incoming students is how incredible the city of Cincinnati in general has been. From someone who was not used to being in a city, it was so crazy to me how many people were out walking on Calhoun Street, masks on of course, even at a time when I'm sure there were less people out than other years. At first it was intimidating, but the more I experienced it, I found it so nice to be surrounded by people, the vast majority of which are fellow students. The atmosphere on campus is wonderful. It has many new buildings and is constantly being innovated, but it remains to have that college campus feel that many students are looking for. The University of Cincinnati, in my opinion, allows you to be so close to a major city while still providing a homey campus feel. Question 5. A time I faced a conflict and how I resolved it. At the beginning of the semester, I was so excited to move into my dorm and experience all that the University of Cincinnati had to offer me. I moved in all of my belongings, said goodbye to my parents, and I was genuinely having an amazing time my first week on campus with my roommates. However, only 1 week in, one of my roommates came into contact with COVID for the second time in the brief month I had known her. This instantly made me really nervous, not just for the obvious reason of the possibility of becoming sick, but because my father is immunocompromised, and I knew that I could not risk getting him, or anyone else in my family for that matter, sick. I knew we had to have an important discussion, since this was the second time it had occurred, and there was obviously something going on. After having this discussion with my roommates, it was clear that 3 of us, myself included, were taking the virus extremely seriously, while one of us, the one who was in continued contact with COVID, was not. After much conversation that nearly turned into debate, she expressed that despite our urges, she was going to continue to go out in large groups without a mask. This was really frustrating, as we knew that even if we were extremely careful, if she continued to behave how she was behaving, there was still a really large chance that we would catch COVID through her. I decided to reach out to housing to see if there was any way her or I could switch rooms, because I realized that no matter how much I tried to convince her of the severity of the situation, she was simply not going to change her mind. After talking with housing, I was informed that I had the ability to return home for a full refund, since I was technically a sophomore by credits and the semester had only just begun. In this situation, there was a clear conflict between me and my roommate, but the larger and more difficult conflict was interpersonal. My 2 largest values, school and family, felt like they were in direct competition. If I stayed on campus, I knew I would not be able to see my family throughout the semester as I had hoped, because my roommate was not being cautious enough. Instead, I would have to remain on campus for the whole semester and somehow quarantine for 2 weeks before coming home for Thanksgiving break. But I was extremely worried that if I decided to come home, my education and my college experience would be negatively affected. I knew that my classes were mostly online, but I was worried that my motivation would lack at home and I would miss having access to the library and other resources on campus. Ultimately, I decided to come home for the remainder of the semester as most of my classes were virtual and I knew that I couldn't go several months without seeing my little brothers and the rest of my family. This decision was not easy to make, but I came to it after talking with friends and family and journaling about my options. I also talked with my mentors that I discussed earlier, and they were really helpful in giving me their opinion. Ultimately, I am happy with the decision I made, as she continued to have multiple COVID scares and did end up getting it this semester, which negatively affected my other roommates. Luckily, I was wrong about the negative effects coming home would have on my education, and I can thank the amazing medical sciences faculty and advisors for that. It is that very communication that I talked about earlier that has allowed me to remain home and keep my family safe while still being able to achieve high grades and feel connected to my fellow classmates. Question 6. Trying to sell an object. Now more than ever, it is so important to keep yourself and the children in your life healthy. As the weather gets colder and the number of COVID cases continue to increase every day, we could all use a bit of an immunity boost. And that is exactly why you need Flintstones gummies. They are gummies that taste great while looking like your favorite Flintstones characters. Between the taste and the fun, the kids in your life will be begging to take their vitamin every single morning when they wake up. Be sure and watch them though, because they might try to sneak an extra because they taste that good. Free of GMOs, high fructose corn syrup, and artificial flavors and sweeteners, these are exactly what you need. Containing vitamins A, B5, 6, and 12, vitamins C, D, E, zinc, iodine, and biotin, these delicious gummies offer immunity support eye and bone health, as well as growth, development, and energy metabolism. Sounds too good to be true, but hey, think about it. They wouldn't be pediatrician's #1 rated children's chewable vitamin without good reason. If you're thinking these vitamins are only for the kids in your life, think again. Anyone can enjoy Flintstones gummies as long as they take their recommended dose as posted on the bottle. If you are looking for an added level of security, as we all are right now, look no further. Flintstones vitamins have your back and will protect you when you need it most, right now. Available in your local supermarkets and drugstores for only $5.98, which is well worth the price of your health.